Inside Georgia Real Estate with Deborah Morton. She is the broker owner of the agency Atlanta. Let's go to, the phone number, 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. Let's go to Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer, thanks for calling. Happy Easter.
Oh, thank you. You too. Just a quick question. When is property supposed to be surveyed and by who? Is it the flipper who does it or is it the new owner?
It depends on the situation and what you're negotiating. If the buyer, when you're selling land without a house on it, and at any time a buyer can ask for a seller to provide a survey. Oftentimes the seller doesn't have a survey, and that would be more common in a residential neighborhood where we just use the plats for a neighborhood. You know, there's 100 houses in there, all the lots are about the same size. When you really need a survey for anybody is if you're putting up a fence. A reputable fence installer is not going to install a fence without a survey because they want to make sure the fence is on the correct side of the property line. Now, if you're selling land, and if you're just selling vacant land, part of the contract will state if there's a survey or not and who pays for it. So it's a negotiable item. If you're selling land and you want to get top dollar for it, I recommend the seller have a survey in place, because how is the buyer supposed to know what they're buying? It is the most accurate way of saying what you're selling, but it's not required.
Do you do the survey when you go to sell or when you buy?
Either or. A lot of sellers have a survey, and the survey might be 20 years old, but it still might be valid. And what the buyer could ask for is for that survey to be revalidated. That could happen. Are you buying or selling right now, Jennifer?
I'm a neighbor, and the house beside me was for sale, a flipper. And I kept asking him, well, aren't you going to survey? Oh, later. So now it looks like the house has been sold. There's yellow flags, 2 rows of yellow flags marked on the front. And there's no dividing line between, I have just a section on that side that's mine, about 3 or 4 feet wide. So there's no dividing area to show my property and their property. And that's what concerns me.
Yeah. Well, you can't make your neighbor get a survey, but you can have your own property surveyed.
I have a survey, but once I have got that in hand, what do I do? I mean, if he infringes on my property, I won't really know unless I have to survey again, because the stakes, the neighbor that lived there before, she was kind of had problems, issues, and she kept pulling up the stakes.
So yeah, I don't know if you're maybe borrowing trouble from the future here. If the new neighbor starts to erect a fence and you have a survey in hand and it's on your property line, you have just cause to contact an attorney and have them send a letter.
Yeah, it would seem that Jennifer already has a survey, so that operates for the boundary for them too.
You're protected. So if anybody tries to infringe on your property, you have a survey in hand. Now, when you go to sell your property, that's super helpful as well. Generally, though, when people are selling larger tracts of land and not in a subdivision, surveys are super common. That survey will also turn up. Easements are a big deal. And this is
what is an easement for those that
relevant
don't know?
To Jennifer's situation,
right.
But an easement would be where a larger piece of land, there's driveway access is the most common. But easements also could be sewer for the city runs sewer or water lines, gas lines. Colonial Pipeline has lots of gas lines through. There are easements everywhere that are. So when you're buying property, one of the things you want to check is make sure that easements, you don't have an easement on the land you think you're buying. And it's not always a deal killer. It's just knowledge.
Right. Did you get that, Jennifer?
Yeah, I did. Okay. But I was hoping not to have to incur legal expenses. So,
well, if they haven't stepped on your property yet, there's no expense.
Right. Yeah, you haven't incurred anything until something happens to you from them.
Right. I've had some bad issues with the house on the other side of me. So that's why I'm kind of being suspicious and worried.
Understood. Thank you for your call, Jennifer.
Good luck. And Jennifer, I hope that you your next neighbor is a delight for you.
I want to go back to HOAs.
Yes,
we were talking about that before.
because this is actually tied all
Together, right.
Yes, yeah.
Do you see when you go to buy or sell a home, and you guys are at the you're showing homes? You're mostly when you're helping someone buy a home. You're selling homes. Showing homes. Do you ever see people say, "Oh, this has an HOA. We don't want to be involved with an HOA"?
All the time. It's not just the HOA. We have lots of people who say, I want to buy a house and I don't want to be in an HOA.
Right. They
They're
tell you that up
adamant,
front.
and
Right.
they're adamant about it because they've had a bad experience in the past. Not all HOAs are bad. Not all HOAs are good. Usually it's the shades of gray.
Right.
My issue with HOA right now are undisclosed fees. There is a lot of money changing hand and padding accounts of communities that with the junk fees, transfer initiation fees that are added that the homeowners are not aware of. When you go to sell your home, there is a form you're going to fill out that indicates how much the transfer and initiation fees are to the new person coming in. And if you get that number wrong, leave it blank, you don't have that information, all of those fees get charged to the seller at closing.
Right.
And that makes people really angry. It also makes buyers really angry, but if it's disclosed up front, it's a cost you're aware of. I'm all about transparency, and I don't like when things are not clear and easy to find.
So
HOAs, in my opinion, too frequently hide the costs for people.
So you mean to tell me you own a home in a community with an HOA, with an HOA. You paid a fee, you paid a monthly, fee
or annual,
whatever. Right. You sell a home to me. I've got to pay an initiation fee as well?
In most cases.
Not
every HOA
that's
is
extortion.
The same.
That's extortion. I should just pick up the monthly fees that have already the house has already paid an initiation into the home.
They're putting that money into the general fund for the community.
Tell us. I don't trust these people.
I know you don't trust anyone.
Anybody. It seems like an extra layer of funds and fees and stuff.
If you know about it up front,
that's fair.
It's fine.
Right.
When you don't know about it, it feels very unfair.
Absolutely.
The thing that is really challenging to me, all the community associations right now are charging fees to get a letter. So it's your account. It's been in good standing.
Now, what is this letter? You said this before. What would the letter be for?
It's a clearance letter that is required. The closing attorney requires a clearance letter from the property management HOA board to say you're in good standing, you're free and clear, There's no liens, there's no lingering anything that the new owner is going to be burdened with. The privilege of having them write that letter for you comes with a cost, and that cost falls squarely on your shoulder. And homeowners they're always like, no, my HOA does. I'm like, no, call them, confirm. So your realtor should be guiding you through all of these steps. If you're buying in a community with an HOA, you need a copy of the covenants and restrictions for the community, and you need to read them. Like, you really do. And that information will help you decide, is this a community I want to live in? And if you're selling, you've been in the home for 20 years and you think, oh, my community doesn't charge anything or whatever, check and make sure, because these are things that come up all the time. And if you're in a condo, it's a whole different conversation.
Right.
Buying and selling condominiums, it's just a whole additional layer of things you need to know. So you want to make sure you're working with a specialist. With us, we have a whole team of people dedicated. They are condo specialists. And you know what? That's not my personal jam. I don't enjoy the condo world. There's so many things that can wreck a transaction working with condominiums and HOAs.
You often tell me that I need to begin to look at senior active living.
That is
right. And so I want to ask you, do they have HOAs as well?
So one of the things, and y'all who are listening,
because I've been giving it thought. I've been giving it thought.
Shelly's been in his house for a long time. He loves his house, but it's too big.
Right,
like
too big.
many people, it's part of what we're calling the lock-in effect. He has a low interest rate. He's got some equity in the home, and the cost of moving, what he can buy for what he will receive for his house, he's having a hard time time wrapping his head around it. Is that fair?
That's fair, but it's
Yeah.
also wrapping my head around living with seniors who I don't feel like I'm a senior.
Active adult, Shelley.
Active adult.
Active
I'm sorry.
adult.
Active
You are very
I'm
active.
very much of an active
So
adult.
one of the the appealing thing about some of these communities is now your yard work is taken care of. Your exterior maintenance is cared for, is done. Your roofs are cared for. All of those things are done by the community, and you will pay a monthly fee for that work to be done. Now, living alone, you're going to pay a monthly fee for your landscaper.
Right.
You're going to pay for your handyman. You're going to pay that. So it's a simplified way of living, and it creates a lifestyle that's easy.
Yeah.
And at an active adult, somebody who's already raised their kids, their retirement's not too far away, it might be a great option for somebody who just wants an easier lifestyle. I don't want to deal with all that stuff.
No, it makes sense. I'm telling you, as I drive around, I see a lot of them, and I'm going back and forth between the apartment style ones,
Yes.
and the kind of separate homes,
Yeah.
flat.
It doesn't mean you're old. It's lifestyle
I know,
based.
but it makes me feel that way because so say I'm out at the club and I meet a 40-year-old. What do I say? Oh, come back to my senior active living spot.
I think it's time for a commercial
We'll
break.
be right back. So InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com is how you get in touch with Deborah. 448-720-0750 1-800-WSB Talk. Call us with your questions.